Hello everyone, and welcome to my review for Record of Ragnarok episodes 11 and 12. That's right, I'm reviewing both of them at the same time, because I couldn't be patient enough to wait to record another review before watching the last episode, and also I didn't feel like doing two more recording sessions today, so we're doing it all, 2 in 1. Yeah, this is the end of the season, the end of the third fight, and I have some things to say about it, so let's get right on into that. For starters, I do think overall Round 3 is probably the best adapted of the 3 rounds of this season. They did manage to capture Poseidon's speed and some of the visuals of his attacks better than some of the other fights did. There was still a pretty frequent use of still frames, more than I would have liked, especially in the final clash. I don't know how I feel about the final clash. It's probably because I really love Amias D's version of it, with all of the triumphant music over it and stuff. I got what they were going for with the lack of sound effects and just playing music, but there was kind of a lack of impact in a lot of the animation that they did have, and then like after Kojiro cuts up Poseidon, you have everyone in the audience like being super excited, like all the reactions from Brynhild and the other samurai, but you don't hear any cheering from them. They just show the still images of them without any cheering. You don't hear any cheering until after Heimdall announces that Kojiro's won, but obviously those guys would be cheering. You should have audio for that. There were still a few things I was a big fan of. I liked Poseidon's dodge of Tsubame Geishi. When Poseidon gets serious, it was really good. They did a really good job with Kojiro, sinking into the abyss. There were still quite a few things I liked in this fight. I would probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Didn't really finish as strongly as I hoped they would, but I would agree it was probably the best adapted of the fights. It didn't have... There really wasn't much of anything that took me out of the moment when it at least came to animation. Like, again, some of the subtitle translation shit was dumb, but other than that, no real glaring issues. There were just a few things where I thought they could have done better. Straight up just having more animation. Now, the music. I forgot to mention this in the last 2 reviews, but I really like Poseidon's whistling. I was wondering, like, what would it sound like in the anime? And it's really good. It's both kind of serene and spooky, which is what I would hope it would be for Poseidon, because he's both of those things. So that was really good. And then I almost, like, dropped everything I was doing when I heard it. I was making lunch, and I had, like, the episode playing on my phone. I think it was episode 11, where Kojiro is dodging through all of Poseidon's strikes, trying to get to him. And you have this really cool OST playing over it. It's kind of, like, epic guitar stuff. I think they had some of the samurai stuff mixed in from Kojiro's theme, and then they have Poseidon's whistling as part of the OST. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit. That is probably the best OST in the show. That was really, really good. Big fan of that. Yeah. That's really all the material stuff I have to talk about. I really just kind of want to talk about the anime as a whole now. Oh, right. We get to see the start of Round 4. Jack and Heracles' character models look good. The environment looks good. Assuming we ever get a Season 2, I kind of look forward to seeing how that's done. Yes, I actually do hope we get a Season 2 for various reasons I'll get into in a little bit. But one of the most interesting things is we get an anime original scene where after Round 3, instead of talking to Heracles, because like they're not going to introduce Heracles in the like last 5 minutes of the season, we see Brynhild talking to Hermes. And he leaves, and when Gaul asks about it, she says, oh, it was nothing. So, I and many people have been wondering who the fuck told Brynhild that Poseidon was going to be going up in Round 3. It seems like Brynhild has some kind of informant telling her stuff about what's going on. And one of the big candidates for that was Hermes. especially because, as we found out from Poseidon's backstory, Hermes is a bit of a troublemaker. He likes to mess around with people, sort of create conflict, almost seemingly on Zeus's behalf, so it's very possible that Hermes, either independently or on the behalf of Zeus, has been helping Brunhild in order to make sure that the fights in Ragnarok are as competitive and exciting as possible. Very interesting, because I'm assuming that the authors, the people who created the manga, were somewhat involved in like the directing and script writing. So it's fairly safe to assume that we were shown this for a reason. I find it very likely now that Hermes is indeed the, maybe not traitor, but the mole. He's a mole on the god side who's been leaking information to Brunhild. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Another thing is that in the endings, we get to see some images of backstories of characters that we have not seen yet. We get to see the volcanic eruption from Raden's backstory. We get like a bunch of weapons that may be King Leonidas. We get a picture of the cosmos, which I'm thinking may be Nostradamus. And then we get this snowy, almost World War II looking battlefield, which is like definitely Simohaya. I don't think we get to see a thing for all of the corresponding fighters, but we see stuff relating to the backstories of fighters that we have not seen go up yet in the anime or in the manga. So is it possible that this is actually teasing the order that the next fighters are going to be going up in? Who knows? Because, I mean, they don't have Buddha. I mean, I guess because technically Buddha's not human anymore. So, who knows? Who knows? That may be interesting if that comes to pass, because I think that'll mean that Leonidas is going in round 7. Fun stuff. I guess he won't be fighting Odin like we thought, or Odin will go up in round 7. Who the fuck knows? The entirety of Record of Ragnarok's matchups seem to be based around surprising the shit out of us, so who knows? Who knows? Yeah, so now I'd like to take some time to talk about this season of the anime on the whole. If you've been around, like, ever since, release day last week, you have seen, like, all of the complaining on social media, on Reddit, in Discord, from anime and manga YouTubers, that this anime is the worst thing ever. Like, it's just fucking atrocious. It's the worst thing ever put to screen, worst anime of 2021. And I think those people are greatly blowing it out of proportion. I don't want to assume any motivations, but I do get the impression from some people that it's like a clout thing, where, oh, apparently the Record of Ragnarok anime is not that good? Let's get on the bandwagon to talk about how shitty it is. I do think that's a case with quite a few people. I mean, I'm sure there are people that just fucking hate it. I know there are people that just think it's terrible. But I think when it comes to a lot of big names out there, a lot of people are just really being hyperbolic for the sake of clout. I, on the other hand, will take the, as far as I can tell, relatively unpopular position that this anime is not that bad. It's average. I give it like a 7 out of 10. I'm going based on like a US education system grading thing, where, 7 is an average, 6 is below average, anything above 7 is above average. So I would say this is a very average quality anime. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible. I mean, you do have some not great moments. I would say that the Adam versus Zeus clash is definitely the low point. Like, that's about as bad as it gets in terms of the lack of animation. I would probably say episode 2 is the worst overall, just because it's so fucking slow with Thor's backstory. I mean, good God. They were way too dedicated to that storybook thing. Just made it take fucking forever. But overall, I feel like I fairly enjoyed myself with this anime. It's not the greatest thing I've ever watched. I don't think it's even among the best experiences with watching an anime I've ever had, but it was entertaining enough. I enjoyed myself when watching it. There are little glimpses where we can see that Graphinica could do a very good adaptation if they were given more time and resources. I haven't seen any full details, but I have heard people talking about the fact that, the production team was really not given a great deal with this. At the very least, not given enough time, which is very unfortunate because there are still moments where the anime looks pretty good. You had some scenes from Thor vs. Lubu, mostly in episode 3. I think episode 3 was probably the best looking episode of that fight. Ironically enough, in the same episode, we get the Adam vs. Zeus slideshow. We actually get some, pretty good animation of Adam and Zeus going at it when Zeus is in Adamus. True God's Right versus Eyes of the Lord. That looked really good. Adam's punches connecting with Zeus, Zeus getting knocked back and then coming forward again. Those, short little sequences actually looked good. They looked really good. So, I don't think Graphinica is a production studio devoid of talent. I do think they have the potential to do a good anime adaptation. I just don't think they were given the means to do so. They weren't given the means. And if you give them the means for Season 2, I think it could turn out a lot better than this one. Would I be more comfortable if we just gave it to a more experienced anime studio like, I don't know, Bones? Yeah, sure. I would kill for a UFO Table adaptation. If we got Demon Slayer quality for this, oh my god. I don't know what I would do. But alas. It's called Demon Slayer quality because, only Demon Slayer and the Fate movies have that kind of production quality, unfortunately. If only other anime studios could be as good as UFO Table seems to be. I'm mostly just saying this because it's, the big one I know for the really good adaptations. So, yeah, I don't think this anime is terrible. I think it has a lot of potential, a lot of unused potential, a lot of untapped potential, some missed opportunities. There were many things that I thought could have been done much better, and the anime would have been much better received if they changed that. Just cut down the still frames by, half. Do a little more animation. Cut out that fucking slideshow sequence. Do a Netero versus Meruem thing, where you just have a few interspliced really quickly, and that aren't completely still. You have the mustache and the hair flapping around and the blood splatter. So there could have been a way to do that way better, way better, and it would have been much better received. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Season 1 of Record of Ragnarok. I'm glad I heard everyone talking about how terrible it was, because my expectations were so lowered that I couldn't help but enjoy myself watching it. When I saw those trailers, I was like, I see, so that's what we're getting. I was really not expecting much from this. I didn't get too much, but there were still some moments where I'm like, hey, that looks pretty good, and I think, given the right circumstances, if Graphinica keeps the anime, or if it gets pushed to another studio, I think if we get a Season 2, it could be pretty good. It could be significantly better than Season 1, and we would have a pretty good anime adaptation on our hands as opposed to an average one. So yeah, with that, that's all I have to say for this review, and for Record of Ragnarok Season 1. How exciting. So I will be talking about this on stream tomorrow. I hope you guys join. I will, of course, be having some people on from the Discord, so look forward to it. I'm sure there will be plenty of heated debate in the VC and in the comments, so look forward to that if you're interested. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Record of Ragnarok chapter reviews every month, and we're getting double chapter next week, so you should subscribe if you're interested in my reviews for that. If you enjoy other series such as Jujutsu Kaisen and Kengan Omega, I do videos in those series as well, so if you're interested in those, you should definitely check out my channel. If you enjoyed discussing Record of Ragnarok with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have linked that down in the description. And since it's the end of the video, it's time to give a shout out to my wonderful patrons, Archbear, CJ2K, Fuse, Neo, Dijon Redden, Anthony Chavez, Honey Mustard, Zach Rowitz, K-God, Chris Redfield, Scratch23, Moonshadow935, Rat, and Ryzen4K. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. And if you too want to get a shout out at the end of videos or access to reviews for solo leveling and the Boxer, you can always become a patron as well. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.